it's all well and good to sit and talk about building a team of managers and stuff, but most bands when they're starting out in their first few years, you're sitting playing showcase gigs and not getting paid anything. And to build that team costs money. And if you have nowhere to source that money from what you're saying, it sort of seems like then you're hitting your head against a brick wall, because if you haven't got the ability to make the money to build a team, you don't have the team to get into the industry. So therefore, it's sort of a endless circle. How do you go about that otherwise?
I would just start with managers. I wouldn't, go after the whole. You don't need an accountant when you're starting out, or just find a good manager, and then they will bring in a team and sort out how it's paid for and know how to structure that. And if you're struggling to get a manager and you really have sent it to 100 of them, then maybe you should look at the music and check that maybe the music's a little. I do believe that if you're in a good band, you will get found, which may be a little bit naive. But if you really, really are good, then you should get found.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think there's also that age-old question of how do we get started. We're looking at this book of contacts, or we're cold calling record companies or sending things to managers and hoping they're going to respond. But the difference now is that the tools to promote yourselves are free and they're available to everybody. And actually the effect of having a tune put on a blog, for example, is probably infinitely more alluring to an A&R guy than contacting a lawyer or a manager to try and sort of cold call and get something started. I mean, and building a team, like Mark says, is something that you don't need a radio plugger to send your music to Tom Robinson, because he picks up and plays most things that he gets. He plays 50 records a week that he gets sent, and nearly all of them are unsigned because I go through them all. And actually, that's a great A&R source. An A&R source for me is to go through the track listings of all those BBC introducing shows, Tom Robinson, people like that, because they're getting approached by artists like you who are sending in their stuff off their own back. And so there are ways to sort of get yourself noticed. And I do agree with Mark that if your music is fantastic, if your music's good enough, you will rise up, because there will always be people along the way who want to get involved with good music. And so it can be really demoralising looking at sort of the Music Week directory and wondering if you should send it off to the manager of the Kaiser Chiefs or not. But there are ways to get yourself noticed that you can do yourself.
I think at the end of the day, all of these people that you guys are talking about, the radio pluggers, the PR people, the live agents, whomever these people are that you need to get in touch with, they're all making money through your music. So it's got to be about the music. And I think most people are up for cutting a deal. I've never spoken to a PR person yet that isn't up for cutting a deal. If the music's right, if they think they can get this to one of their clients, and if they think they can get this on Radio 1 or in a magazine or whatever, they're going to take it on. They'll go, look, we'll defer payment. I know you haven't got a deal, I know you haven't got a pot to piss in, but when you get a deal, you owe me X amount of money. This is what we'll agree now. And they're generally, they're all up for that, I think. I hope that you'll...
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But it's also about working out what your commercial aspirations for your project is. If you want to be, Mark and I were just talking about a mutual friend we have who's signed to Warp, who does incredibly left field electronic music, and it was an absolute artistic dream to get signed to Warp, and which he achieved, and he made an incredibly left field electronic album, which has probably sold about 7,000 copies, I'd say, maybe 10,000 worldwide, but that's his niche and his area, and he loves it. Doesn't really pay the bills. He plays with Energy and Heat, he goes and tours and does some stuff with her, but that's his artistic pocket. He's not trying to, you can't be everything to all people, and I think artistically you have to get your creative headspace. Yeah. So
you just been talking about, that's kind of the same with me. Like, I don't really care if I get any chance ever in my life. I just want some people somewhere to hear my music.
And it's a great time to be. It's a great time to be an artist.
I completely agree with that. I've met so many people who are writing music to get a manager, writing music to get a record deal. And if you're doing that, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You should be writing music that's going to affect the next bloke that walks across that street and make him whistle your tune. That music is about connecting with people. And if you can do that, then the business will come and find you.
And record companies they're more guilty than anybody else of trying to manufacture or shortcut to market. You know, they'll hear a half a hit song on MySpace, and this is the other thing that technology has changed with the music industry, is that things that otherwise would have developed for years to come to fruition are now, you know, you write something that sounds like half a hit, every record company in the country's on it, and you're at radio in 6 months, you don't connect because you've had no time to build a fan base, and you're out the door within another 6 months. And, you know, I can list a dozen bands in the last 4 years that's happened to. Big major deals, straight to radio, nothing happens, out the door. And it's heartbreaking for those artists, because that's what their aspiration was. But
and the other thing that major record labels, and all of us to some extent are guilty of, is hearing a band with your business head on, and you categorise the music you're hearing by what radio station you could get them on, which is a crime. It's too Radio 2, it's a bit 6 music. Why are we defining new bands by what radio station they may or may not get on? You know, what about what venue they might get to? Or, you know, it's just, you know, they'll resurrect South Bank show to just focus on this band, they're so good and wacky. We all do it, we're all guilty of it, but it's wrong.
Well, it's brilliant. I think we're going to move on to a little bit of music now. But before we do, I just want to say that music is what we're all here for, and music is the driver for all of this. Without your music, there are no record stores. There are record stores anyway. Without, stop the tape. Let's try that again. Without your music, this massive inverted pyramid that we all sit in just doesn't exist. Your music's at the bottom of it. You take that away, and the whole thing falls down. There's no people selling guitars. There's no ISPs pushing your music. There's none of that, because they've got no product.
No illegal downloading.
No illegal. Nobody does that anyway, Paul. I don't know what you're saying. But there isn't any of that. So, you know, carry on with what you're doing. Where there's a will, there's a way, I always say. I think we've established that A&R, these people are all very nice people. None of them bit me, which is fantastic. And I think we've demystified A&R. I think we've talked a lot about the role of the A&R person. You've met some friends tonight, and I think that's what the music industry is about as well. It's, if you've got music and you've worked hard on your music, you'll find other people that want to help you to take that music to the next level. So use all the people that are out there, talk to as many people as you can, get your music out there, get as much opinion as you can on how your music's doing, and move it from there. I want to thank Phil, Henry, Paul and Mark for sitting on the panel, for being really open and giving us their experiences, and talking as openly as they can, and passing this information on to us. So I'm going to thank them before we do anything else. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Sean Devine as well, because he can't thank himself.
Don't stop.
Sean, you were fantastic, man.
Thanks.
Right, this is the fun bit. This is the music bit. This is why we're all here. It's about music. We can talk about it forever. Who wants to do some listening? No one. Okay, right, let's go. So, you guys have all, well, a lot of you have brought music with you.
Tapes.
Can I say
tapes. Yeah, who's brought a tape?
Just before we start, I don't want to appear rude by sort of running out the moment the music starts, but I do actually have to.
This is no comment on your music. Phil does have to go.
I will say, if anyone wants to get in touch, my email address is phil.christie@warnerchapel.com. So please do drop me an email, send me an MP3, be in touch, and yeah.
Great.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, cheers.